What'd you think of Austin without a mustache?
It's different. Yeah. We asked, was asking who the new guy was in the meeting, but I mean, all of that aside, I think it's just a terrific cause. The fact that he's used, his presence and used the mustache through November to raise a lot of money, I think is a terrific thing, and he followed through on his end of it.
Have you ever had the inclination to grow one yourself?
Absolutely not.
When Austin posts up in front of the net, like he's done a little bit and has done it, throughout his career at times, how hard is that to defend for the other team?
It's a lot. He's a big guy, strong. He competes for ice and gets a stick available. He's a lot to handle for sure. And he's scored a lot of goals from that space over his career. Obviously the last few games he's had a lot of success there, and it's gotten him moving here at 5-on-5. But he is who he is because he scores goals in multiple ways. And you shut him down one way, he adjusts and finds another. So that's that's what great goal scorers do.
What went through your mind when you heard Nathan McKinnon was making this his return game?
Obviously, you're aware of the threat and the boost that it gives to Colorado, but we like to play against the best. That's really what we should be excited about, the opportunity to compete against them.
John, and Tavares was saying this is probably the toughest test when it comes for you guys defensively, maintaining that attitude and mentality that you've been so good with consistently this last stretch. Is that how you kind of see the challenge tonight?
Yeah, I think today it'll be put to the test, more so than anything that we've seen. Obviously, they've got really dynamic forwards, that are game breakers. But the most unique thing about this group is how dynamic their defense is. Cale Makar's leading their team in 5-on-5 goals. I don't know how many teams in the league where that's the case. Their defense is extremely active, extremely fast, dynamic. They make plays all over the ice. They stress you on the rush. They stress you in, like they're playing the offensive zone. So, yeah, it's going to be a big challenge for us here to manage that.
How do you defend against that, Sheldon, when that's not the norm? You see a defense corps come in and I think they're leading the league in points on defense. Yeah. How do you guys defend against that when it's not something you necessarily have to always prepare for?
Yeah, we have to manage it. I mean, obviously, the more that we can spend on their half of the ice is going to help us the most. That's really the focus. And as a team, we generally do that well. And again, this team, on the flip side, they spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. So there'll be a bit of a battle there tonight, or be a big battle, I guess, in terms of who's able to establish their game that way. So that'll be it for us, is to try to keep them as far away from our net as possible in how we manage the puck and spend time on offense ourselves. But certainly when it's time to defend, we got to find our structure quickly, maintain our structure, and look to keep them away from the net and keep their close seams. They look to make a lot of plays. When I've watched them, I think I don't know anything about this statistically, but from my eye, they lead the league in backdoor at open net tap-ins, because they just make so many plays. And a lot of that is because you get drawn to the motion and to the speed and to how dynamic their defense are. You end up kind of chasing them around. So it's a matter of us just finding our structure and trusting our structure.
Eli McNeil skating with the group today. 2 months was the initial time, and you said coming up next week. What's sort of the process for him to get back? And is he still on that timeline?
Yeah, again, it's been so long that the actual dates and the timeline, I'm not really connected to that. I'm sure the medical team's on top of it, but I'm just following his progress that he's making. Yesterday, on the ice with our players for the first time in a skill session, and then moving towards a full morning skate today. And then I think the plan is that if he goes through that, he's going to see the doctors again here tonight. I think get another x-ray and update on how things are progressing, and then looking to try to take the next step if everything's okay there, which would be resuming practices and working up his conditioning and things like that. So the actual dates and times, I'm not so much focused on that. It's more about the process of getting him prepared to play. And the first step is to just make sure that his thumb and hand are back to a place where they can take contact and the stress of shooting and such. But I know that the feedback from yesterday was that he was able to do a lot more than they thought and feel a lot better in terms of the strength of making passes, taking passes, shooting pucks. So he's been building up towards that, and then now it's a matter of doing it, more frequently with more players on the ice. And it's when this development team is passing you pucks, it's a little bit different than your teammates, the way the puck moves around the ice. So those are the progressions he'll make. But the first thing is to just ensure that the progress that he feels he's making is backed up by the medical team.
Do you foresee a conditioning stint with the Marlies before?
I don't know. We haven't talked about that. We're not near that yet. I know we've talked about having him come on the trip out west with us. Whether or not he's going to play, I think that'll be determined, based on how he's progressing, as we've talked about. But we just want to make sure we can, get him, reacclimated with the team again, and around the players and in the meetings and practices and all those kind of things. So how the schedule fits will be a part of that. The Marlies schedule has how it's been, very spread out and things like that. It hasn't really been conducive to those kind of things here in the early going for us. But I'm sure they'll look at it.
You say Turtle West, you mean the longer one, not the sweeper? The longer one coming up.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we're going out west a lot these days. Yeah.
Sheldon, a little bit past the quarter mark of the season, how do you assess this first quarter for the Leafs? And what are you most proud about the way your team plays now?
Well, I think we look at it, it's easy to focus on November because it was such a great month, and there's a lot of reason for optimism and positivity because of the work that was put in there. So we obviously feel very good about that, but when you're talking about, the quarter mark of the season, we can't leave out October, and there's a lot of things there that we didn't do well, and we feel we've learned from and we're able to help us have a good November. Now that we've found our game here, it's a matter of consistency, and that's really it. That's our focus is doing it all the time. Today, we talked about come back from the road after things went very well for us and we played a great game, and then tonight with the opponent we have, it's going to stress us as much as we've been stressed, in terms of how they play and the challenges they face with their team speed and puck pressure and all those things. We just have to keep with it, and as the stress comes, we've got to be able to persevere through that. And if things don't go our way, we've got to make sure we continue to build from there and not let it snowball. So that's what I'm focused on. As much as you want to reflect on what's happened to this point, I'm focused on today and how do we maximize today. That's really it. And I think that's been a big part of our success here the last while, is we haven't gotten too focused on how we played the day before. We're just focused on what we can do with the day in front of us.
Kasha seemed to be in good spirits out there today. Is there a timeline coming into focus for him?
I think today's was a first step, just being back on the ice. It's not a practice setting, of course, and so we'll take a day off tomorrow, and then we'll have a practice before we head out to Minnesota. So I think that would really be the next step for him, assuming everything goes well today, which it seems like it is. He was still out there when I came in here, I believe. So, we'll just get him back in practice and take it from there.